In the 2024-2025 financial year, political parties in South Africa have received donation and political party fundraising in excess of 216 million rand. 18 million, more than 18 million of that having come in the third quarter of that financial year. The IEC had published the third quarter party political funding donations, and the ANC leads donations by just under 13 million rand having been raised in the third quarter. The Democratic Alliance sitting at around 4.3 million rand. The Referendum Party had raised just short of $1 million rand, and Busa comes in fourth in political party funding and donor raising at 160,000 rand. And we're now joined by Matsobane Nkoko, who is the IEC Manager for political party funding. Mr. Nkoko, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. In the past, there's been questions around whether or not there must be thorough audits around political party funding financial statements, particularly political parties that raise capital and funding through what seems like debt with unclear terms of payments, with unclear contracts and agreements of that debt. And by law, the IEC does not report on it because it's not actual money that they received and appears on their balance sheet. Has there been any movement towards that, and do we see a greater level of compliance generally by a political party in reporting donations above the 100,000 rand threshold?
Good evening, and thank you very much for giving us an opportunity. We actually are seeing quite a significant amount of compliance with regards to the auditing. You will remember that we actually concluded the last audit. In fact, the political parties submitted their audited financial statements last September, on the 30th of September last year. This year, with these last audits, we actually took a much more rigorous approach, which is why it took us quite a bit to come to the point where we are at now, which is to produce the annual report. So we will be releasing the annual report in the next month or so, after a very thorough review of audited financial statements of a number of political parties, largely those that are represented in the national and the provincial legislatures. So we are tightening, the screws quite a bit, and many of them have come forward. Really, they are showing signs of compliance moving forward.
When you take a look at these audits, the audited financials that you receive, one, are they clean audits, firstly? That is to say, can political parties account for every single cent they received, and of course, above the threshold that the statutory requirement is concerned with, 100,000 rand in this instance? And are they able to give you the exact information about where the money came from, in terms of what the name of the donor, whether the donor is a juristic person and or a business on the other hand? Or do you find that you often have to go back to them and say, hey, we need the actual business registration number of this company that gave you this kind of money. Please, can you provide us with that information?
Let me start with the issue of clean audits, or unqualified, as it were, without matters. Auditing political parties is not an easy thing. We are realizing ourselves as we do the reviews. The auditors are raising quite a number of issues, from completeness of information to many other challenges that they've come across. I will have you know that many auditors, they submit audited financial statements to us, and they've got a number of areas that they identify as challenges that they have found in the auditing process of these political parties, largely with regards to direct income. Where it concerns public funds and so forth, many of them are very much compliant. I could say just about all of them are compliant with regards to what the money should be used for. So that's one part with the clean audit. Coming now to the other issues that involve us going back to the parties, we definitely do that. You would know that there is a section 15 in the Act which says where we are unsatisfied with information that we receive from the political parties, we can go back to those political parties and say, please give us more information on this and that area. Failing which, we will take you to the electoral court. We will, have the court impose certain penalties, and that may involve getting the accounting officers of these political parties into trouble. So the moment we do that, many of them then come forward, they come through. And also the part that we do, I think that assists us a lot, is that we allocate a lot of time with these political parties to say, through the year, talk to us, let us help you through the whole process so that you don't get surprised at the end of the financial year that you should have declared certain information like the one that we are dealing with right now, that the quarterly declarations.
Just the last question there. We are a bit thin on time, and I do want to get an answer on this. Debt capital. It's reflected on the book, but they don't have to tell you where they got the debt from, what the debtor's business orientation is, and or what the terms of that debt may be. Political parties like the EFF, for instance, have large sums of debt capital, and we know nothing about it.
As a matter of fact, they do tell us. They do tell us who has lent them the money. And half the time they also give us in fact, most of the time they give us, the contract, actually, the debt contract or the loan contract that they have. You're mentioning
should that then not be reported in the declaration report with full detail for the public to be able to get the full benefit of information?
No, that you get in the annual financial statements and therefore in the annual report. It's not debt, it's not a donation, therefore it's not declarable on a quarterly basis, but rather you should wait for the annual report. And if you look back at the annual reports that we have published so far since 2021, you will realize that we do have the extracts of financial statements of these different political parties. That is part of the information that appears in those audited financial statements. And even with these ones that are coming next, you will find extracts of financial statements of political parties. Where there is a loan, it will be clarified and so forth. But it's not part of the quarterly declarations. Yeah.
Matsobane, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Matsobane Nkoko is the IEC Manager for Political Party Funding. We're going to take a very short break. We continue. In fact, let me take you to this after the break. I'll be telling you about the new regulations around cards that will be kicking in at SASSA and the Post Bank. Don't go away.